The stream is on. There is evidence now that Michael was not here. He was not ready. Ruben and I were super organised.
Yeah, some of us were working though.
Unreal. I don't think the microphone picked that up. Anyway, it's officially Friday. Bullion Now is here in your living room or car or workplace.
Or on Spotify.
On Spotify.
Or...
I was going to say on Shopify. What else? Who else is there? iTunes. Oh, are we on X? We're on formerly known as Twitter.
We're not on Twitter this week.
No, don't worry about it then.
X got hacked or something. Was the
I saw
red
something
hot
about
rumour.
them going down, but no, we didn't get enough time to set up for that this week. This is a very, very bare bones one camera setup stream. Yeah.
Jeez. Last stream of the year, we'll go out with a bang.
Yeah.
Big bang.
Something like that.
That's the
Something
theory.
like that.
Oh, jeez.
It's been wild.
How's it?
Yeah.
All right.
It's a huge end of the year.
Ruben, this is going to be so bad because I can't not move around. And if this is going to go out of focus, people are going to get real fed up with my animated
It's all right.
style.
If you guys are happy to cover for a sec, I will endeavour to set up some other cameras. And,
All right.
We'll be all right.
Jeez.
Well,
It's a bit rough on the run, isn't it?
Yeah. That's why I said, Ruben, you're going to have to launch in because otherwise you're going to get feedback for being disorganised. Michael and I are going to say, we've been here waiting for half an hour for setup.
Oh, dear. It's all good. So how are you, Matt?
Yeah, really good. So far, so good. I think I'm 95% ready for Christmas.
Yeah. Is this the first Christmas with a baby?
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
So you would not believe how many hair clips, with what little hair she has, all little hair clips, bows, you name it, shoes, socks. She doesn't wear shoes yet, but we've got them. We're ready to rock and roll, dress up like a little elf. This will be your first Christmas as a grandfather.
That is correct.
How exciting. Yeah, we both got some milestones to look forward to.
Bit of a shock to the system, if I'm completely honest.
It must be a bit surreal, yeah.
Yeah, so it's funny because my youngest is just turned 14.
Wow,
so
yeah.
It's been a while since we've done the baby type Christmas sort of. I'm actually really looking forward to next year when he's, just a bit more mobile
animated.
and conscious of what's going on. It should. It's good fun going back. Oh, that's right. We used to do that. Oh, that's right. We
Buffed out all the traditions.
Yeah, we have to fence off the Christmas tree because there's someone that's going to start ripping into things
real
a bit
dangerous,
early.
real quick. Very good.
Yeah, that's excellent.
So you're all set. You're all prepped in the household, all ready for it. Do you do it at yours?
Sorry?
At your place? Is it the whole you do the family do?
It goes for 3 days, mate.
Really?
Yeah, so we kick off.
One, and I'm not looking forward to one. That's going to take it out of me.
So we kick off Christmas Eve with, like, my wife and kids.
Yeah.
And grandkid now. So that's Christmas Eve. And then Christmas morning we spend as a family. And then this year some of the kids will start breaking off with, in-laws type of thing.
Oh, yeah.
Passing off. And then there's the gathering of my wider clan. So there's 60-something of us. All gather.
Book out the local hall.
Take over my sister's place. I feel for her.
Wow.
She spends about 6 weeks setting up for it.
I can imagine. You need to bring in some external help.
Yeah, well, they're all rallies. Like that's all. That's actually not my whole family. So I come from a fairly large family.
Wow, you don't say.
And so they all get together, and that's Christmas afternoon from 3:00, and then Boxing Day we do my wife's side of the family. So.
Gee
It's
whiz.
3 days of Christmas.
I'll stop complaining then that I'm doing one do at my place.
Aren't you going to your folks? And
No, they're all coming to mine. Yeah, my wife was all fizzed up and her mother, my mother-in-law, got in yesterday from Sydney. And
oh, wow.
Yeah, they've probably started cooking now and it's going to be a clash of cultures.
I was going to say, is it an Australian or an Egyptian Christmas?
It should be a mixed bag. So I like some of the cuisines that my mother-in-law puts together. So I'm looking forward to a full spread. So yeah, I complain like I do anything. I'm not going to do any setup. I just turn up. I'm going to be Santa actually, so that's going to be a hoot. I'll pop my beard on and I'll dish out some presents. But other than that, I don't really do much.
That's excellent. Good stuff. So I love this time of year for the traditions and stuff.
Yeah, never a dull moment.
Yeah.
It should be good.
That's great.
What have we got? Have we got some bullion-related stuff to talk
Say,
about?
we should probably head off to the bullion
even
side of
seen
the
the chat.
conversation. So, What do we got here? So, question about the Wonka bar. Thanks for the Willy Wonka bar. Very nice. The only reason I bought it was because Michael played Willy Wonka 60 years ago. Great. Thanks for that.
There's a new one. Was this bar produced to coincide with the new film?
I don't think it was, but it is isn't it an anniversary, Rubes? Do you know? I don't think so. Okay.
Possible.
For some reason, I thought it was an anniversary, but maybe
It
not.
might be. I'm sure you could work it into some coincidental anniversary or something, but there you go.
Yeah. I was having a look just before we came on stream. Perth Mint shot me the releases for next year.
Oh, unreal. So we've got big news.
Well,
you
only
allowed to
some
say
news,
anything?
some news we can talk about. So it's actually going to be a crazy... So I hope everyone's got heaps of money left over after Christmas.
Yeah, but of course.
Because there's heaps of releases January through February.
Really?
So you've got the Kookaburra being released.
Yeah.
So you got to grab that. The 1/20th gold dragon in the 1 kilo and the 5 ounce,
Really?
I believe.
5 ounce is usually a little later, isn't it?
Yeah, no, hang on. That's exactly right. That's why I'm questioning what I saw, but I'm sure it said the 5 ounce. Let me confirm.
Could be a Christmas miracle.
It is. It's the 5 ounce silver.
Wow.
So the
okay.
2024 1/20th gold, 1 kilo silver, 5 ounce silver bullion dragon. They
Right.
will be released on the 17th of January, which
Wow.
that early hasn't happened since pre-COVID. Like, I think 2
Since
years
the last
before
year
COVID.
of the dragon.
No, it
Wow.
won't include the 1/10th Kookaburra as far as I'm aware. It's just the silver release on January. I can probably give you the date for that one as well if you give me 30 seconds.
Have we seen the design yet? Are we allowed to?
I have. I can't. We can't show the design.
So it's still under embargo?
But yeah, here we go. Let's touch on this one. I actually really like the design. It's very reminiscent of a different coins design. I can't say much
okay.
more than that.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't make this last statement I want to make.
You're 50% into the statement.
There's
There's no bird bath here. You're allowed to say that?
There is no bird bath. However, I saw the artist's design for they're taking the Kookaburra to Berlin for the World Money Fair. And they're producing a coloured one for the World Money Fair in Berlin, which is going to be red hot property if you can get hold of one.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find the numbers on that one.
Usually it's about 1,000, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
I
quite a
think
low
it's-
mintage for the
yeah.
World Money Fair.
And if it's the only one they do with this design, and I'm desperately hoping it is, well, actually, no, it will be, because it's got, I've got to find it now. I have to find it. Because I wonder if they send it to, the problem is I run several accounts with the Perth Mint because of the different companies we run. No, let's go over to LCS. Sorry, talk about something else amongst
all right.
yourselves.
Well, what's going on, Ruben? How's your week been?
It's been a week.
That good, huh?
I don't want to depress everyone with how my week's gone.
Wow.
It's been a fun one. But we're here. We've made it, and yeah, not long left to go now.
Well and truly ready to pack it in, finish up for the year,
Very much.
take a
so.
breather. Well, someone has already asked, and I don't know. You might know, Ruben. When's our first stream back
Oh,
in the
check the calendar. I think it's the
2024 calendar?
So we're
12th. All right.
We're back on the 9th of January, and so the next Friday would be the 12th.
All right. Very good. Well, looking forward to it already.
One, I don't know if the guys from IT are listening, but I actually had this question before, and I haven't had a chance to run it by them. Why do a bunch of the gold coins not have pictures on our website at the moment? A lot towards the bottom of the first page don't have pictures. That's something I picked up on, and Stephen has also pointed out there.
Oh, okay.
Are you asking us or telling us?
Telling / letting the IT more telling the IT guys that it's a problem, because I was also running into that problem.
Oh, yeah. I've just noticed that as well.
Yeah, not something I'm aware of. There's so many things I'm not aware of that happen in this company. It's a little scary some days.
Michael, do you think the premiums for Silver Eagles will continue to fall into next year? As an American, I hardly have any due to the larger premiums.
I actually think they will. And the reason I'm saying that is because, as Rubes and I found out the other day, the US Mint is... so the way that they're currently sold, the Eagles, is the Mint supplies, I think it's 5 wholesalers, and everyone has to source off those wholesalers. And it's a bit of an oligopoly. They don't operate outside of those. I'm fairly sure it's 5, but I might be slightly wrong on that. And it sounds like they're opening up expressions of interest for more dealers to actually wholesale straight out of the Mint, the US Mint. So that indicates that they've got too much supply, I'd suggest.
Right. So this is quite the opposite from what we heard earlier in the year when someone had cornered the market with a 500,000 Eagle order.
Yeah, that's right. So it sounds very much like they're going to be... I would anticipate premiums starting to drop, if I'm completely honest.
Wow.
Oh, there it is. Found it. So, back to if I can, take us back to the World Money Fair one, because I'm quite excited about it. It's a 2,500 mintage.
Oh, okay.
So it's a coloured one in card, and I can't tell you the exact design, but it has a privy mark that is very Berlin, and it has something to do with crossing the street.
Traffic light.
Close.
So
somebody in the chat will know what it is.
Crossing the street, Beatles, Abbey Road.
No, that's a stretch. You only find these in Berlin.
World Money Fairs?
There's one of those in the States. Yeah, I can't say exactly what it is, but people might be able to guess. But it's a very Berlin character.
Yeah, I've got no idea. You've lost me.
But that actually wasn't where I was going with this. The design that they've got, like I said, in the Bullion version, it actually looks really good. And I want to see a proper coloured version, because if they've done in the coloured version what they've done with the colour Berlin one, I'll be fairly disappointed, because it looks like it's carrying a jelly snake.
Oh, okay.
Because it's this chewing gum green squiggle on the bottom, and as soon as I looked at it and I had ads with me, we kind of went, no, sorry, I had Bailey with me, and we both kind of went, there's a jelly snake under it. What's that doing there?
Okay. Oh, got my attention. We'll have to keep an eye out. So so that's going to be late January that we'll get to see those designs?
Early January you'll get to see the Bullion design.
Oh, okay.
Late Jan, they don't actually tell me here where I can start talking about. Oh no, it's got an attached sheet. This will tell me, and my computer's about to crash. 2nd of Feb is the release date, but the embargo date is the 5th of Feb, so we can't talk about it until after the show. Work that one out.
Wow, all right, fair enough. Well, hopefully no one sees it between now and then.
Yeah, but the Kookaburra itself comes out early. Here it is. The Kookaburra itself comes out on the 17th of January. Is the embargo date on that one.
Okay.
So we've got the Kookaburra coming out, we've got the Dragons coming out, and there is something... Oh, the Kangaroo starts getting released in late January, early Feb, by the sounds of it. And also in their numismatic line, there is a fantastic release from them on the 2nd of February.
Right.
And they're doing the 2-ounce dragon in a antiqued look.
Ooh, okay.
And unlike the background, so the dragon's the same, but unlike on the Bullion Dragon where it doesn't have a lot of background to it, this has a whole pictograph going in the background. It's
cool.
Absolutely stunning.
Wow. I'm looking forward to that. This is I'm already a bit overwhelmed just hearing about it. I think this is going to be a pretty explosive year for releases. If that's how we're starting out, Maybe we'll catch a break in March.
Yeah.
I highly doubt it, though. There's going to be something huge in March as well.
Yeah. There's also a Pink Panther coming out in February, and it's in the style that I think has been overdone. What do you call that thing when it comes out of New Zealand Mint, Rubes? What do we call it? You know, the little caricatures.
Like the chibi style?
Yeah, chibi. So it's the chibi style, but Perth Mint can't use that because that's a New Zealand Mint term. But it's the Pink Panther.
It's not under their umbrella term for them, though, is it?
No.
Because theirs is the minted minis, is what they've come up with.
That's right. Yeah. So there's a minted mini coming out for Pink Panther. So if you're a Pink Panther fan, this one, I don't like the minted minis. They just don't float my boat. But this one's actually really cute.
Oh, okay.
So I think they've nailed it with this one.
I'll look forward to seeing that because I'm yet to be truly dazzled by any of those.
Oh, you're not going to be
characters.
You're not going to be blown off your feet, but it'll be. It's okay. Normally, I go, "Oh, you got to be kidding me!" This one I went, "Oh, actually, that's pretty cool. I don't mind that one." So
very good.
Good stuff on that one.
Yeah.
So there's your updates for going into the new year. Save some of you if you've got any Christmas money left.
Yeah.
Save it for the new year because January, February looks like it's going to go off like a frog in a sock. So good stuff.
Can't wait. Should be a hoot.
Yeah. What do we got, Rubes?
Stephen wants to know if you're going to the money fair this year, Michael.
Barring any hard operations this year, I will be there.
Good stuff. And what are we hoping? Who are we going to chat to? What kind of takeaways are we looking to get? I know last year you kind of sent me over with a couple of tasks that we struggled to fulfill, like finding a Zimbabwean 1 ounce gold coin and
did
some
you
other
find the
things like that.
6650s?
No, we found a couple of some like $1 and $2 Australian coins.
Yep.
But no round 50s. So,
if there's something you want us to bring back, man, what would it be?
Wow. $1 trillion note from Zimbabwe. They've all of a sudden gone through the roof in popularity. Like they were always, a $5, $10 note. Now you can't get them for less than $250, $300.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. And Mike Maloney, when he used to do a presentation, would give them out to every single member of the audience just to highlight the futility of fiat currency. But now, all of a sudden, I'm sure he'd be happy to have them returned to him because they fetch a big collector's premium. So keep your eye out for those.
Okay.
Specifically that denomination, though. The others, not so much.
Because there's a 50 trillion, isn't there?
Yeah, if you can only get $500 million, don't even bother.
We've got some of the ones we got.
They're a dime a dozen.
We've got some of the ones we got last year sitting down there next to you, Matt. But they're not in the trillions. I think they're $500 million notes. Those ones.
Waste of time.
No, I've got a bundle of. I think it's either 50 trillion or 500 trillion.
It's only 500 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Hey, that's a good shot.
I've actually got the whole series from pre-hyperinflation.
Oh, really?
All the way through to the end of hyperinflation.
That's the kind of thing that you should get that framed and put it in the shop with a bit of a story and a timeline. Because it's certainly, stuff like that, it happens seemingly in the blink of an eye. Like, it's a pretty ruthless process.
Yeah.
South African Mint, that was another one we were tasked with kind of checking out last time. They weren't there, though, so we'll see if we can grab them this time. We'll try our luck.
Yeah, there's lots of the mints we're going to meet up with while we're there, which should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to that. There'll be way too much meals and dinners and beer and pizzas and all that sort of stuff. And I have to say, anyone from Berlin, you really don't know how to do a pizza.
Jeez, all right. Getting them on the back foot. You haven't even landed yet.
The beer is... I still, to this day, I don't know why we go out for beer and pizza because... The beer's great. Like, there's all sorts of beers there. And it's fantastic. But I just can't get into German pizza. I don't know what it is.
Have a pretzel before you go. You'll be fine.
So, but yeah, I'm hanging out to go. I love going to Berlin. It's a fascinating city in and of itself. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Hopefully we'll be over there with all sorts of cameras and tech and all that sort of stuff. So hopefully we'll be able to do lots of videos and maybe even a live stream depending on how enthusiastic we're feeling.
Make some headlines.
Oh dear. What do you reckon, Rubes? We'll be doing it at about 3 a.m.
Let's do it. Well, that's the question. Does the Does the stream time change based on where we are, or is it always Friday 2:30 Melbourne time?
It's always 2:30 Friday Melbourne
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, all good fun. Alrighty, what else? What are the money fair dates? I think it's whatever Friday is closest to the 1st of Feb, which, if you give me 2 seconds, I can bring it up on my computer.
The 5th. That's my guess.
Nah, it's the 2nd of Feb. So the
they've
2nd
been
through to the
close.
4th is the public days of the fair. But we get there the week beforehand because a lot of stuff happens on a dealer level in the week beforehand. But there's
VIPs.
Yeah, not really. Let me tell you, it's chaos. If you happen to be in the neighbourhood, so I kind of consider anywhere through Europe and that in the neighbourhood, because I mean we're coming from Australia, but it's absolutely worth going. You see everything and anything there. It goes for miles and miles and miles, and there's everything from your little mum and pop coin store, like you'd see it at Australian coin, like country coin fair sort of thing, all the way through to, the major mints and refineries. There's people selling equipment to mint your own over there. There's capsule suppliers.
Yeah, look into that.
Mint their own.
Yeah, for the BN round.
It's unbelievably eye-opening when you go there. So if you do happen to be able to go there, I honestly, I don't know, you recommend it, Rubes?
Absolutely. That's it. It kind of just opened up my eyes to the total worldwide nature of this industry, to be able to walk into a room filled with people from all over the world and still be able to talk bullion and coins and have them go, they just speak my language essentially. Just based on things I've learned here. It was, very, very, very fascinating to find a conference and a big conference space at that.
There's lots of talks, like from industry experts there for the 3 days.
Are you going to do one?
I'm not doing one.
Ah, come on.
I don't have time. I'd
Represent
love to do one.
Australia. Yeah, it could be huge.
But it was the first place that I saw the €0 notes.
Ah, yeah, they were cool.
And they are, they'd only just kicked off the first time I saw them, and I kind of went, oh, that's a bit, I don't know, that's a bit weird sort of thing. They are so popular through Europe now. Like the ones that I think we were paying like $5 or $6 Australian for. It might have been a little bit more than that, but it wasn't much. It was, chump change sort of thing. They're now worth, like, some of them in there are hundreds and hundreds of dollars. It's just, it's great.
Goes back to what we said, those things that raise your eyebrows and you think, I don't know if there's a market for that. You just, throw your hat in the ring, and see what happens.
That €0 note thing very much gave me the feeling of that kind of, I'm hoping I'm not going to offend anyone watching, but something like the pop vinyl figures or something like that, where there's a lot of them that are just very generic, people don't really care about them, but there is certain ones, there is certain, things that you can get a hold of that there is serious money behind. And if you're selective about it, that's it. You can do quite well. I saw quite a few people hunting through trying to find specific ones.
Yeah, some of them are like, they're not just a standard note. They'll have the Disney note, or they'll have the the Eiffel Tower note and that sort of stuff. And some of them are absolutely beautiful. Even taking away the collector premium, they're just fascinating, beautiful souvenirs. So I'd love to say hello to the guy from Japan, but I can't pronounce that.
Yeah, me neither.
Sorry, mate. My Japanese isn't that flash.
But thank you for watching.
Yeah, absolutely. Any plans for a Bullion Now World Tour next year, guys?
You're asking us.
Or have you got any announcements to make, Michael? Sort of usually how Ruben and I find out about these things.
Someone asks on stream, and then he tells us this is the most communication we get.
Yep. Then a T-shirt with tour dates turns up. We say, "What's this?" We say, "Well, guess what we've booked."
Yeah, these are the dates you're going out. There is no plans for a world tour next year yet. What I'd actually like to see next year, and this isn't an announcement, and this will be a little bit of a shock to the guys because I really haven't talked to them about it yet, but what I'd like to do is a big conference in Melbourne. And actually bring in some names and, like, let's make it affordable.
Yep.
You know, for everyone. Make it kind of that, you know, July, August, September, which is probably the worst time of year to have anything in Melbourne, but we've got to have time to make it. But yeah, let's bring in some guest speakers and make a really good precious metal investing, like not one-on-one, but, you know, intensive conference for a day or two.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we're thinking about it.
Yeah, I think that'd be a hoot.
Yeah.
Oh, it gives us something to look forward to.
Yeah, like I said, it's not an announcement yet. It's just an idea we're starting to kick around. So
Yeah, that's how these things start.
Yeah.
Very quickly things can escalate around here.
So it's not, I should probably clarify, it's not in competition to the Gold Symposium that happens every year up in Sydney, although rumour has it that may be moving to another state. But it's more, the Gold Symposium is more directed towards like gold and silver or precious metal miners and explorers, quite a lot of it. So this would be more a stacking, investing conference, for want of a better term.
Yeah.
So I don't know. See if people like the idea, and we'll kick it out a bit and see what happens.
It sounds like as good as opportunity as any for a poll, Ruben. What do you think of a Melbourne-based?
Yeah, sorry, we've got to pick
Bullion
one place to
conference?
do it.
It's going to unfortunately have to be in Melbourne for the first one. We'll see.
Oh, that went down the wrong way.
What's your question here, Matt?
There's a what?
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, perfect.
Yes, no?
Yeah, perfect.
That'll do.
I don't think there will be an auction today.
There will not be an auction today.
There you go.
It was just too hard with because we're shut for the next 2 weeks from a front end perspective. So it was too hard to organise, invoicing and make sure it was put away properly and stored and all these sorts of things. So we just decided that we'd skip the auction today and we'll come back bigger and stronger next year with more auction items. So save your coin for that. Everyone's complaining that they don't have enough coin because of Christmas and Diwali and the end of year and all the rest of the stuff. So
wait till January anyway.
Yeah, that's right.
Just when you thought you could come up for air.
Yeah. So it looks like it might have a goer. There's 40 votes there, 85% in Melbourne. So
there you go.
Like I said,
done.
we should kick it around, I think.
Book it. Japan. Someone asked if Japan has a mint. Yes, they do. But to my knowledge, they don't produce bullion. You see any some rounds out of the Japan mint? I know they do lovely mint sets, like uncirculated and proof sets, but that was on my to-do list when I was there, believe it or not. I didn't make it. Of all places to not make it to, the mint was one of them. Bummer.
It's they produced some absolutely stunning pieces. That's it's as you'd expect from a Japanese company. It's the work of art. It really is. So yeah. If you voted no, you're not from Victoria. I don't know about that, Desi. Not necessarily, but it certainly would know it.
What do you have any insider information or know what is going on with Kitco at the moment, Michael?
Yeah, I'm not liking it. No, look, I don't. Have you heard much?
I went to look up a price in the store today, and I was a little bamboozled with the charts that I saw. Not the pricing or anything, just the layout seemed different. But on my phone, it was business as usual. Yeah,
it seems the app is functioning as it was, but the website itself, you can't pull, the buy-sell quotes off it or anything like that. It's just the chart. So, I don't know. They did get hacked earlier on in the week. These days, it's a case of it's not a case of if, it's a case of when everyone is getting hacked in various forms. So, it's we're seeing it through all sites, so it doesn't shock me that they've been hacked at all. It doesn't seem to be anything. It doesn't seem to be anything drastic, but they've pulled that standard frame that we see, and just gone with the charts. So if you're looking for the buy-sell price, you need to use the app at the moment,
which is Gold Live, little Kitco with a blue background.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, and it works well. We don't have any more Willy Wonka bars that I'm aware of. However, funnily enough, I was having this conversation with Adam, who looks after our stock levels this morning, and he said don't rush us or anything like that because we're not going to do anything before the new year. But there may be a couple that people haven't paid for that we're going to pull out of the system and possibly make available early in the new year. So, stand by if you missed out. You might. I'm not saying you will. And please don't email us and say Michael said. There's a faint possibility that in the new year you might see some hit the website.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I saw something interesting this week, and it's just a thought that I've had, and it's a thought that I've had on numerous occasions. It's nothing in particular, so I'm not highlighting a one-off incident that you can look at. It's just an observation. I've seen a couple of people that have had difficulties in their bullion transactions through Facebook as a platform with other individuals. And I'm not going to sit on my high horse and say that, you should only do bullion deals in person in Bullion Now. But that's what I did when I was a customer, and obviously still to this day. I've never dealt with anyone through any other platforms, but it felt, I didn't say, and I don't get involved, I'm just an observer on the sidelines, but when I see people having issues and they say, this person's not really well known in the community and I've sent them money and I'm now having issues and, the tracking's gone haywire and I'm really stressed because I've spent, thousands of dollars with this individual that I don't know so well. I think for the amount that you're potentially saving in premium or whatever it may be,
$20.
You're literally talking less than $100 for that saving. And this, I can speak to this from the perspective of a stacker who didn't work in the industry once upon a time. I saw deals like that online and thought, well, you know what I'd rather do? I'd rather go into Bullion Now, look someone in the face who has a reputation on the line, who has a business that's public and is fully out there, who has a $30,000, $40,000 XRF that they're happy to test it in front of me. I get the items and I know that I've got the invoice. If I ever want to sell it back, I can do that easily. And I guess it sounds like someone who works for a bullion dealer just pumping it up as, you should come on in here. But geez, I'll tell you what, from the perspective of a stacker who didn't work here once upon a time, it seemed like a no-brainer to me. And it always raises my eyebrows. And I don't know for some people if perhaps they think that the process is perhaps a bit more convoluted or complicated when you come into a bullion dealer, and maybe you think that there's more paperwork that goes with it, or it's a more cumbersome process. But geez, for based on my experience prior to even working here, I much preferred the comfort and simplicity of just coming in here, doing my deals in person, and taking the metals on the spot or putting them into storage. That as well, having the option of storage, there's just a bit more, I found a lot more substance to it, as opposed to, okay, here's an individual, I can save $20. As soon as the money, and I have never done it, but I'm assuming if the money leaves your account, all of a sudden you think, wow, I really hope this works out. And I hope I save this $20.
Let me tell you about a story that occurred at Bullion Now.
Yeah.
It wasn't us directly. It was a company that was not associated with us. I'm trying to use the correct wording here, but was close to us, but didn't it wasn't Bullion Now that this occurred to, but I know the person quite well, and I was there when it happened, and I can give you the facts and figures on it all. But they'd started buying things over Facebook and that type of thing, and they were dealing in more the scrap side, so the jewelry and that sort of stuff. And they saw this bargain price on a gold chain. And it was quite a heavy chain, like it was a couple of 100 grams, like several 100 grams.
Yep.
And it was just below spot price. And I'm saying, I'm not so sure this is a good idea. Anyway, The person purchased it over the internet, and sure enough, this bag a week later said it was delivered and wasn't. And he was having it delivered to actually the shop here. and it wasn't. So I phoned him and said, look, it says it's delivered, but it's not here. And he chased it up, and apparently it had been sent to another building, so it was chased up, and a couple of days later it actually did show.
Oh, wow.
And when he opened it up, he pulled this gold chain out, and it was a chain off a gate that had been spray painted gold, and he'd paid thousands for it, absolutely thousands for it.
That's brutal.
And I remember thinking at the time, if you'd come over to the other side of the counter and bought bullion from us, you would have paid about an extra like $20-25 an ounce for it.
Yep.
And you wouldn't be out about 14 grand at the moment.
And I guess that's the point, right? And it's easy and I wouldn't blame anyone in the comments to say, oh, of course Matt and Michael are going to, plug Bullion Now as a business. But it really does seem, well, the reality is you can have 99 perfectly smooth transactions, and there's tons and tons of legitimate operators on Facebook and all those sort of groups and whatnot. It's totally above board in most instances, but it only takes one deal to go pear-shaped, and all of a sudden you think, wow, it can be thousands on the line, and you think, was it really worth it to potentially save $20 or $30? I don't know, not for me. Maybe I'm just a bit too conservative.
The talk in chat and kind of the playing devil's advocate here, the advantage of some of those secondhand sources can just purely be the variety or chasing previous years or certain collections. A lot of people are aware that the risk is higher and will not want to do it for the main source of their stacking, but to finish a collection or whatever. A few people have said in chat, hey, I am willing to pay those higher premiums, take that effort, take that risk to try and finish off something in my collection. And I'd say that's absolutely what that market is good for. Is trying to finish off collections like that. I mean, we do sometimes get old things through in quantities that in conditions that are perfectly fine for finishing off a collection or something like that. But it's definitely a lot rarer for us to have something come through from years gone by than it is for a fresh new product from us.
Just to show that this is not a promo for BN. I agree with Rubes. There are times when somebody's got that piece. The problem is most of the ones that we see are people that are buying a gold bar and they've bought it at just over spot. Better than you can get at a Bullion Now, and they're going to sell it back to us, and it turns out to be copper invariably. And look, that's not every transaction, but it's certainly more than I'd like to see. But just to show that we're not completely biased on this, although I have to admit to a small bias. If you really need to do a second-hand deal like that, you've found it on Facebook or you found it in, please don't, but if you found it in Gumtree, heaven forbid, any of those types of things, if you really want to do the deal, come into Bullion Now. Agree to meet with the person at Bullion Now. If they won't agree to that, that would automatically be one of my alarm bells going off saying this is possibly not legit. But say to the person you're buying it off, message them, say, love to do the deal, let's agree on the price. I'll meet you at Bullion Now. Come into our office. Now, obviously, if we've got a packed house, we're going to ask you to wait until we can get to you type of thing. But do the transaction under the cameras at Bullion Now with us there, so you're secure. Everything's recorded, the whole box and dice, and the guys will test it for you with the XRF. And we don't charge for this. This is just a service that we offer to the community. And I'm more than happy for people to use that service. Just bear in mind that we are a business at the end of the day, so a paying customer is going to get priority for it over you. But we are more than happy for you to come in and use the Bullion Now security and the Bullion Now XRF, so you can do it safely, and you're not getting ripped off, and somebody's not going to mug you. Because I can actually give you specifics of a case that happened it was a few years ago, but not that long ago, where a guy agreed to do a transaction like this. He agreed to meet up with some people and exchange his bullion for their cash. And he ended up being thrown in the boot of a car, driven around town for quite a while, was released down the beach, minus his bullion and cash.
Jeez.
So it does happen. It does happen in Melbourne. It is a real thing. I know that we're kind of been a little bit lighthearted about it, but it's actually quite serious. So if you're going to do it, please, I can't encourage you enough to use Bullion Now resources to do it. And we don't charge for it at all. We're not going to take a kickback or anything like that. It's just a service we offer.
Which seems like such a... I'm harping on now. This is the last I'll say of it, and then we can talk about something else. But I just thinking about it, and everyone knows I live for a good analogy. And the one that I've just come to mind is, even let's say 999 out of 1,000 times, it's everything's squeaky clean. And so I don't want anyone to think that I've got it out for Facebook or dealing with other individuals, because there's so many great members of the community. Generally speaking, it's never going to be a problem. But if I'm standing in front of a roulette wheel with my $1,000, 999 are safe and green, and there's one red tile in there, I'd rather just go to Bullion Now, where I know they're all going to be green, and I'm not even taking a tiny, tiny risk. But I guess that's because I've been conditioned to be very risk averse by my wife, and that's all I'll say about it.
Yeah, but I mean, even just using your green was probably the wrong one on the roulette wheel, because that's where you lose everything. But that's okay.
Yes,
we knew what you meant.
You know what I mean? The analogy could be tweaked a little. This is live television.
Even using your numbers, let's say 99 deals go well and one deal goes pear-shaped.
Yeah.
And I would argue that the odds would be far greater than that of getting a pear-shaped one. But let's go with that. So you save $20 on 99 deals, and you lose, at least $1,000. Well, I mean, if you're dealing in in 1 ounce gold bars, you're saving $20 on 99 deals. That's near enough to $2,000. You get one dodgy deal and you've just lost $3. So you're well behind the eight ball before you get anywhere out of your first 100 transactions. Yeah. And like I said, I think that stat's crazy. I think it's more along the lines of 9 out of 10. You'll do 9 good transactions and one will blow up in your face. From what we see coming through the store.
Yeah.
Moving on, Rubes.
Yeah,
change our
quick
topic
fix before I start up with another analogy.
It is kind of on the same line, but it's an important one to cover. So someone says, so you guys test all buybacks, because I unboxed 2 100-gram buybacks and they look a bit dodgy. And then further on, they say they almost look like they are getting cracks on the sides.
Yeah, that's not unusual in the casting process. It depends on the rate of cooling and things like that. That can cause the cracking on the sides. But if you're everything that comes into the store as a buyback is tested. Absolutely everything. But if you're in doubt, you can always bring it into BN, and we're more than happy to test it in front of you. If that's not practical because you live, the other side of the country or the other side of the world, then quite often you can find a bullion dealer around you that will test it. Or I'm open to other suggestions. I can't come up with another one.
Yeah. Even just sometimes just a photo or something just to highlight any of your concerns to sales@bullionnow.com.au, the email. It's not always the kind of thing obviously we might look at a photo and just say, yep, it's real. It's a bit hard to tell without actually being able to test it. But we're open to whatever we can, because we know it's the real deal.
Look, I mean, what you got to understand, and I'm speaking as a business owner here, rather than an employee of Bullion Now. 100. Let's talk 100-gram gold bar. That's worth, give or take a little bit at the moment. It's worth about $10,000, which is a lot of money. But I run a company that turns over many, 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 many millions of dollars. If I sold one $10,000 bar that was dodgy and was proven to be dodgy, and I didn't stand by our reputation for that bar, we would last, if we're lucky, 24 hours before, in today's modern age of communication over the internet, you'd be lucky if we had a business in 24 hours' time. We certainly wouldn't be here in a week's time. There is no way on God's green earth that I am going to risk the employ of 20 people, the livelihood of myself and my family, my reputation and the company's reputation and existence over $10,000. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to minimise the fact that 10 grand isn't a lot of money, because it is, but put it in perspective. I'm not going to risk a multi-million-dollar company just to try and save a few bucks on a $10,000 deal.
Yeah.
And rip you off. It's just, and that's not just Bullion Now. I would argue that for pretty much every bullion dealer out there. I know there's some shonks, but the vast majority of bullion dealers, they're not going to risk their reputation. It's not worth it to us, because we wouldn't exist the next day. So just have that in the back of your mind. But if you're in doubt, like I said, get it tested, bring it back to us and test it. I will stand every single item that we sell, I will stand behind and say this is the genuine product. And if ever it was proven wrong, and it hasn't yet, but if ever it was proven wrong, it would be an instantaneous, absolutely, we will fix this. We will replace it. We will give you your money back. We will do whatever we have to do to fix the problem, because it's my reputation and I won't allow it to be wrecked.
Going back a bit, there was a bit of discussion about PayPal. We've pulled it through BN. But Swinglar says, G'day all, quick question. Yesterday I saw that little coin shop still have the PayPal option available at checkout. Is it going to be the case or will it soon cease?
I can't answer that one yet. That's still under negotiation. I suspect little coin shop will keep PayPal. Because it operates in a different sphere than Bullion Now does. It doesn't deal with gold bars.
So it's more about the ruling from PayPal.
Yeah, it is. So I suspect it will keep PayPal, but I'm not promising it. I'm still waiting for PayPal to confirm a few things.
Mm-hmm. We've got some questions from the list that we had the other week. We had quite a big list of questions. We figure we may as well hit some of them.
Did we not get through the list last week?
We did like one of the list.
Don't tell me we got off topic.
Unreal.
You wouldn't guess it.
I wouldn't have picked it. If I were a gambling man.
All on green.
Oh, dear. What's your thoughts on fractional silver? I know you have the half-ounce silver range, but I've seen 1/10 up for bartering purposes, which brings me to the next question. Do you guys have a bartering bag personally, and are you thinking of selling bartering bags online?
Wow, that's a good idea.
That's a fantastic idea.
We've sort of touched on it once upon a time. This is going back possibly a year when we had a brief conversation around Go Bags.
Yeah.
And I think that's in a similar vein, and it's something that I think is absolutely worth looking into. Have you seen this film everyone's talking? And this is related. I'm not already getting sidetracked. There's a film out, and I haven't watched it. It's called what's it called, Ruben? You know what I'm going to say here. It's like get out of the world or something. It's about like, you know, energy grid collapses and what do you do? It's a Netflix thing at the moment, and it's got a lot of people.
I'll have to look that up.
Well, yeah, because believe it or not, in my little bit of free time, I happen to cruise around on TikTok looking at funny videos. But lately, a heap of prepper videos are starting to come through my feed because of this film, and everyone's saying, well, now let's start thinking about it. Realistically, what happens in the first 24, 48 hours? Then what happens in the first week? People are talking about the difference between whether you bug out or bug in, whether you batten down the hatches and stay indoors, or if you have another location that you go to.
Leave the world behind, people are saying.
There you go. It's pretty close. What did I say? Get out of the world.
Near enough's good enough.
Yeah. And it's been fascinating to see that in that sense, a lot of, I suppose a lot of the people on things like TikTok are a fair bit younger, to see this sort of way of thinking being promoted, and they're talking about just having a think about what would you do and how would you go about it. And I think, like we've said in the past, you know, about a year ago on that stream, that for me, it's always been the sleep at night factor, that, you know, I don't spend every waking minute of my life thinking, you know, any second it could all come undone. But if it were to happen, have a little bit of a game plan, and in this instance, have some fractional things, some things you can barter with. If nothing else, it just, for me, helps me sleep at night and is a nice little safety blanket. So that's a roundabout way of explaining that I think fractional silver is fantastic.
Do you keep it as fractional silver, or do you use junk silver or pre-decimal?
Oh, geez. I think that's an interesting one, because I've got, obviously, funnily enough, I've got quite a few florins and Prippenses and what have you. But
yeah, but there's a difference between collector ones and
this is true.
Junk ones.
Yeah, I do have a little bit of junk, but I think that's a rough term, because, you know, I call it, you know, little treasures. maybe we need to start using instead of junk. It's got negative connotations, but I think, it's an interesting one because it's, let's say hypothetically a scenario unfolds in which precious metals become a primary form of barter within society. You've then also got to explain to people, this is pre-1946, so it's 92.5% versus post-1946, which is only 50%. Oh, hang on, you've got a crown from 1937 or 38. That's 92.5%, but it's, 3/4 of an ounce. And
but you've got a 1966.50 in there, and that's an 80%.
Yeah, and that's only 80%. So don't get tripped up because that's only 1/3 of an ounce. So you need 3 of those rather than 1 of those and a florin.
And some of these coins make us groan occasionally when we have an XRF and scales and all the, and years of knowledge behind us, let alone someone
exactly,
just trying to sell an apple to you, if things hit the fan. It's.
So I love these conversations and just thinking about it, but I can see how pretty quickly it may take a little while for what's affectionately referred to as junk silver to come into play in a broad society sense. I think maybe the 1 ounce silver, like the kangaroo, would perhaps be the initial go-to. Yeah.
No, I agree. I like the fractional silver. I don't like it as a bartering tool because the premium is so high. Like when we stocked some 1/10s relatively recently, and I think they were about $6.50 to $7 each.
Yep.
So take it at $6.50 for 1/10 of an ounce. You're paying $65 an ounce for silver. It's the economy of scale starts to kind of blow out a bit when I can buy a 1 ounce Kanga for I'm guessing about $42, $43 at the moment. It's $20 cheaper an ounce,
and they sold out the night of, Michael.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying that because I actually got some. I actually really like.
Yeah.
I like the coin, the 1/10, and it's like I love 1 gram gold bars, but the premium on them is horrendous when you start looking at it seriously. And those 1/100th of an ounce gold things we got.
You sneeze and you've lost it.
Yeah, that's right. I was always worried of dropping one on the floor and it getting stuck in the tread of my boot. I've got one. I think they're fascinating things. But whether I'd buy them for my go bag is a completely different argument. I don't see them in my go bag.
Okay, but what if... So I believe there would be people out there that would take the view of, in the event that becomes a practical means of barter...
Yeah, $65 is a bargain.
Exactly. All of a sudden, let's just say silver's trading for $150 an ounce, and I've got a tube of 50 1/10 ounce silvers. I'm in a fairly strong, or comparatively a strong position to go about my business.
But to me, I'd rather buy a kangaroo, like a 1 ounce kangaroo, because if silver goes to $150 an ounce, my kangaroo's now worth $150 for it. It's like carrying around a $100 note now.
This is true.
You don't carry around 5, 10 and 20 cent pieces just in case the end of the world occurs, or even not the end of the world, just in case I need, to buy something smaller. You go, look, I'm really sorry, all I've got's 100.
Yeah.
And either they can complete the transaction or they say, look, come back later, we can't break 100 at the moment.
Yeah.
And I kind of see the same thing with silver bars, is in, let's get the cheapest 1 ounce silver, and if it comes to that, we'll break it down then.
Yeah.
And it may be that, look, I only need, let's say, 1/3 of an ounce. Okay, well, I'll give you the 1/3 of the ounce and you can give me 3 times as much as what I was going to order.
Yeah.
Or, I'll give you the full ounce, sorry. Okay, you can't give me the 2/3 of an ounce change, but, maybe I can put it on credit with you, and because I'm a regular shopper with you, I'm buying my milk and bread sort of thing.
Yep.
And, I'll break it down over the next few days, or, any of those sorts of things. So to me, I see it the same as, I keep a cash stash with me just in case, the ATM, because I live rurally, just in case the ATMs go down or something like that. I don't keep it in $5 notes. I keep it in $100 notes.
Yep.
And I just hope like crazy that I can break it down at the end of the day.
I'm not going to put either of you on the spot to do this list now, but what I'm thinking I kind of want out of both of you is kind of like, do you remember the video stores used to have like the pics of like certain employees?
Absolutely.
You know, yeah, it'll be Matt's pics and Michael's pics. I want a go
yeah.
bag.
I'm thinking they got a picture up there. What?
No,
Shoplifted? Or, like, where are you going with this?
No, because they work there.
Yeah, because they work
Their
there.
opinion is highly valued.
Yeah, I want.
You're not talking PIX.
No.
You're talking PICK. I got it now.
I want a Matt and Michael's picks for a go bag. If you got, you know, like I said, I'm not going to pressure you to do this now, but I want to, you know, let's do a.
Are we talking
if you get
the
10,
bag or precious metal items?
Like Louis Vuitton.
Well,
What brand bag is going to be most durable?
it's up to you what else.
You've got to have your Louis Vuitton go bag.
It's up to you what else you might want to throw in there. But yeah, I wonder if I get that as a list from you. You know, if I said, yeah, you got 10 grand to spend on bullion in a go bag, how are you splitting it?
Yeah, that'd be a hoot. We should maybe that's something that for the new year to look into as a product, like a few price tiers of go bags that we can, you know, bundle together, and you can have that tucked away and have that as your. I say a novelty item, but it's quite the opposite. Until you need it, it's a novelty item.
That's right. But it's also like I'm gonna sound like I'm super paranoid here. And maybe I am, but I have different go bags depending on the scenario because I live in a bushfire-prone area.
Yeah.
So, you know, I'm looking at a go bag for the family if we've got to get out because there's a bushfire threatening.
Yep.
But I've also got, you know, what people on here would term, you know, the zombie apocalypse go bag, and it has completely different things in it. Yeah. Because, you know, when I'm going for a bushfire, I want ID on me. So the passports are there. You know, the licenses are there. There's some cash there. It's the sort of thing that I need to get the family out of trouble in a non-zombie apocalypse scenario.
You don't need to be armed to the teeth.
Yeah, that's right. Because I lived through the really bad fires. What was that? 15 odd years ago, where you know, the area was devastated and people were locked out in our area. People were locked out of the area. You couldn't get back in. And a lot of people had literally bolted with the clothes on their back. Jeez. So they had no credit cards. They had no form of ID at all. So even when they turned up at these centres to get help, they couldn't prove who they were. They couldn't go to the bank and say, you know, I'm Bill Smith.
I need to access some of my cash.
Yeah, I need some cash, because the bank would say, well, prove it. And they'd go, well, I can't. All I've got is the shirt on my back. I don't have anything else with me because we had to run. So that taught me very early on that you've got to have good ID when you're bolting from those sort of things. And, you know, it's helpful to have a couple of days worth of cash, you know, the usual stuff, medicines, like any medications, you know, a first aid kit, you know, water, some foods that are going to keep you going, sort of thing. And like I said before, I don't have young kids anymore, but when we had younger kids, it had things purely just to entertain the kids, because you could get stuck in a centre for a week, 10 days. Yeah. You try and keep your kids amused for a week to 10 days when you can't leave the centre. Yeah. And there's hundreds of people around and, like, there's nothing to do. So, different bags for different scenarios.
Yeah, very good. Wow, it feels like that sounds like a 2024 series opportunity.
I absolutely
watch this space.
Absolutely think so.
Yeah.
A question for you, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Will you be at the Perth Ander Show in 2024?
Yes, I will. With bells on, in fact. That's going to be
literally?
a hoot. Nah, probably not.
I wanted to see that on photos, mate.
Yeah, being the organizer of the Money Expos, the Ander shows, I'll be there and shaking hands, kissing babies, all that sort of stuff. Should be good.
Good stuff. And a bit of a follow-up for you, Michael. This is a question from Detective Orange, by the way. And has Bullion Now or the Little Coin Shop ever done a dealer stall at a coin show? Would love to see you guys.
No. And I was actually thinking, while Matt was saying he's going to be where the bells, be there with bells on, I'm wondering if
we should be there with bells on.
We should. I'm wondering if we should lob along to some of those.
What are you waiting for? You know a guy that
I was going to
organises.
say, if only you knew someone.
Yeah, if only you had an in.
Oh, you know, it could be part of the BN World Tour. We'll go and
you just said probably was
probably not. Yeah, we might make it the BN Money Tour or something.
Well, look, there's no shortage of opportunity.
Yeah, that could be fun. I don't know. Let's see how it rolls out next year.
Yeah. All right.
When do I have to
sounds
let
good.
you know by? When's the first one next year?
You know the guy. Don't worry about it. Rock up on the day. I'll put you out right up the back corner somewhere.
We make enough noise. It's all right. We'll,
Exactly. Yeah.
What is the first one?
Melbourne in the and you wouldn't read about it. It was the 16th and 17th or whatever it is of January. I had to pull it forward a week because Taylor Swift is performing in Melbourne that weekend, and I had no idea. It wasn't, and you wouldn't read about it. My wife's going, and she said
To Taylor Swift or to the show?
No, she's not interested in the coin show. She's going to Taylor
Your
Swift.
wife's going to Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I know.
dear.
Well, and she said to me, I don't think you understand the magnitude of this is like an economic event, her performing in Melbourne. Like flights are going to go through the roof, accommodation's going to go through the roof. It sold out in, like, it jammed up the internet to when her tickets went on sale. Just her Australian tour, she's going to generate, it's in the billions. Like, it's crazy the money that Taylor Swift generates. But yeah, so accommodation, flights.
I'd get better sound quality on my home system than I'm ever going to get at, I'm assuming it's at the tennis centre, than I'm going to get at the tennis centre amongst, I don't know, tens of thousands of screaming fans, most of them teeny boppers.
Yeah. Explain that to tens of thousands of screaming fans that have paid the best part of $500 to go see
And
her.
all bar the first 1,000 people that are there. Like, she's going to be a dot in the distance, and they're all going to be looking at a big screen of her. They're not going to be looking at the
Michael,
dot.
we're just going to we're trying to sell people on a Melbourne-based Bullion Now event. And they could just tune in weekly live to our
Look,
streams at
if we
2:30.
get to the Taylor Swift size of audience,
Yeah.
I'll start stressing about it. But I can't. Yeah, let's move on. I'm not going to win this one. I don't get it.
What was it? What was the question? Melbourne's the first one. But yeah, I had to drag it forward a week.
So you're telling me it's the 9th of January? No, that'd be a Tuesday because that's when we come back.
No, yeah, February, not January.
Oh, I thought you said January.
February.
Going to
So
say
it's-
there is no way that we're going to be organised by
no.
that stage. We'll only just be hitting town.
Yeah, February 10th and 11th.
Yeah, okay.
But gee whiz, Taylor Swift is a big deal.
So you're not buying a Taylor Swift commemorative coin then, Michael?
Wow, if you
Probably not.
whip them up in time for the show, look out.
You'd make a fortune, wouldn't you? You'd get killed in the rush.
Yep, absolutely.
So, yeah, I think Stephen Bayer's right there. Careful, Michael, your boomer is showing. I'm not, as I keep telling my kids, I'm not a baby boomer, but I'm very close. I only missed by a few years.
You can identify as that if you wish, Michael.
Yeah.
If the world were to adopt a gold standard today, what would that look like and how would that affect our quality of life?
That's rather a deep question.
It is.
Because I see this kind of bandied about on the internet a bit as soon as anyone brings up, gold as, a form of store of wealth as well. Do you think we should go back to the gold as the as the gold standard again? Back our currency, back our money, actually be money again. And the argument always comes to, well, that would never work. There's not enough, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Would it ever be possible to go back to again? And what would our life look like if it did?
It depends why we went back to the gold standard.
Well, I mean, previously it's typically a case of the current, fiat system has collapsed. Quick, we need something in the intermediary. We're going back to gold. That's typically what happens. Do you think if the US dollar was to fail that we would be going back to that?
Oh, there are so many questions.
I realize this is a rabbit hole kind of question.
Yeah. I don't know. I often say to people when they come in and say, or you watch on YouTube where people start saying gold's going to $20,000 an ounce or $50,000 an ounce. And I frequently say be very, very careful what you wish for because I don't know as I want to live in a world where gold is $50,000 an ounce. And
there's a reason it's gone to that.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering if this isn't a similar answer where if we've gone gold backed because of a reason like you've said the US dollar has collapsed or something along those sort of lines rather than a change of attitude like we were talking about recently with Tennessee Coin where they were saying that some of the states in the US are now backing themselves with bullion, with gold.
Oh, really?
So if it's just a change of political attitude, that's one thing. But if we're talking about an economic collapse, it could be horrendous. It really could. It would make COVID look like a sneeze.
I think when people say gold backed, like for instance, if we look back to the 1920s in Australia, you had, a sovereign pegged to a £1. I'm not sure that, and this is, I may sound a little naive, but when we talk about conceptually having a gold-backed currency, I'm not sure that in the first instance that alleviates all potential issues surrounding currency supply and things like that, because
in fact it makes it worse.
Well, you then have for that example's sake, you say, okay, a sovereign 7.98 grams of 22 karat gold equals £1. That's the equation that we're working with. If you then were to do it now, you would have to have significantly less gold backing each, say, Australian dollar, for instance. You then have fractions of that, so it can, if you then digitize it, for instance, can't you just move the decimal places further and further and say, okay, well, it's a 0.00001 of a gram of gold is now $1 Australian dollar equivalent, and that then becomes the equation that gets tampered with. Not tampered with, but you know what I mean. It gets adjusted according to the currency requirements of a country.
Yeah, you've either got to go one end or the other. So you've either got to say a minuscule amount of gold is equivalent to $1, or you've got to say, an ounce of gold is now worth your equivalent of $50,000 or whatever it is, just to be able to back the amount of currency that's out there with the gold, which is why the question scares me a little.
Yeah. The more we think about it, the more. Yeah, you're sort of at a crossroads of rabbit holes that you could sort of take a peek down. It's a very good question. It's very interesting to think about. Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I want to commit to any further depth on this one on a live stream, because we don't go for the what do you call it when you make sensational statements on YouTube? Clickbait?
Clickbait. We try not to go down the clickbait line unless we're doing it tongue-in-cheek. It would worry me. If we ever went fully gold-backed, it would actually worry me as to what environment we're in and how we would do it. So, yeah. Somebody's brought up Argentina there, and I think Argentina is a really good one to watch over the next 12 months to 2 years, because I don't know if you're aware, they've just elected a very, very, very right-wing...
this is a chap with the chainsaw? Yeah. Yeah, so he seems like a real character.
Yeah, he's right. He's right out there, but he's actually very right-wing economically sound. So he's going to drag everything back. I don't know as he's planning on going gold-backed currency, but he's certainly, basically saying we're broke, and, we don't have a choice here. We are going to make these hard decisions that even 5 years ago he would have been derided for, very much so. Even the IMF would have been against him, but now is kind of going, well, because something ridiculous like 65% of IMF loans are, so this is the International Monetary Fund, are actually made out to Argentina. Like it's huge. Yeah, wow. I'm probably wrong on the stat, but it's a huge number of their loans. And the IMF is basically recognising that up until this guy was elected, there was no way in hell Argentina was ever going to be able to repay them. Yeah. Now they're actually saying, well, his ideas might be right out there, but it's probably the only thing that's actually going to save it and, actually make it so we might get some of our money back. Wow. So it'll be interesting, because that will kind of be a test case or a very small sample of what might happen if a country really does say, actually, no more. Let's pull our socks up and actually be economically responsible, and the flow-on effect from that. Yeah. And interestingly enough, the first thing they're expecting, like inflation in Argentina is already well over 100%. I think it's 150, 160% per annum. They reckon that inflation will go far higher initially. when he launches in. So it'll be it's if you're into that sort of thing, which it's kind of one of my bents. If you're into that sort of thing, keep an eye on Argentina over the next 12 months to 2 years just to see, and it'll give us far more of an idea of what's going to happen.
Wow.
It's kind of on a similar vein, this follow-up question, but it is also absolutely a rabbit hole in its own right. It says, what's your opinion on Australia's national debt, and do you think it's a problem? There's a lot of emphasis on a sovereign debt around the world, but compared to most countries, it seems Australia's debt is actually quite manageable and might not be as bad as politicians on the opposition suggest. So, is it just a case of, well, compared to that guy, we're not that bad? Or, because there can be a lot of finger pointing at other countries around the world in cases like that. Is Australia's debt still a problem?
So the fact that we're drowning, but we're not as drowning as the guy next to us, that makes us okay?
Well, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
That's kind of a little bit what it seems like. It's a little bit of point the finger, but that's it. Do we have our own problems considering how big some of the other problems?
Look, these things are always there, particularly when you're talking politics. The side that's in power is always going to make it sound better than it is. The guys that are trying to get into power are always going to make it sound worse than it is. Somewhere in the middle is the truth, and you've got to work out where it is. And we're not as bad as like the US, where the US, I think their interest payment now is well over the $1 trillion per annum, which is larger than what they earn in a year. So they physically can't even pay off the interest, never mind actually pay off the debt itself. We're not quite there, but if you look at the trend over time, it ain't going to be that long before that's what we're going to be in, unless we make some seriously hard decisions, and we're not doing it. Well, I can't see any indication of us doing it. Maybe I'm not looking in the right areas, but I think we're trending towards some form of theoretical bankruptcy where the debt is getting worse. And I don't see, even when we run a surplus, I don't see our debt coming down. I know that they try and twist figures, but at the end of the day, we're still far more in debt this year than we were when I was, 40 and then when I was 30 or when I was 20. The debt is massively increasing. I don't know, Matt, what do you reckon?
Well, it's not something that I'm not nearly as involved in researching this area, so it's not something I have a great deal of exposure to. It's just something that, like you said, I hear each side and exactly what you've described. One side saying, it's pretty manageable, yeah, we can get a handle on this, and the other saying, no, you need us in power in order to manage this, and then you see a role reversal and a similar narrative play out. So beyond that, it's not something I've given a tremendous amount of thought to. I've been more focused on trying to keep my own head above water on a personal level, which gives me enough to be excited about and sleep with one eye open.
Look, Australia is very, very lucky. We're called the lucky country for a reason. We have vast resources in this country. Just ask Gina Reinhardt. We are tapping into major markets around the world, and the world wants our resources. So does that mean we can play a little bit looser and a little bit faster? Probably not as loose and fast as we are playing, but certainly it means that we've got a little bit more flex with it. And you've also got to remember, I don't know how far we want to go down the economic rabbit hole. We should call this live stream the live stream of rabbit holes. But you go down the economic rabbit hole, it's actually an advantage for governments to get into debt and then inflate their way out of it. So, for example, and these numbers are completely stupid numbers, but if you've got $1,000 debt and you're earning $500 a week, it's going to take you 2 weeks to pay it off. If you can inflate it so you're paid $2,000 a week, or your money is now worth $2,000, but your debt's still fixed at $1,000, it only takes you half a week to pay it off. And it's a very simplistic example of inflation. But it could be argued that is the way that the Australian government and governments around the world are reducing their debt. They're inflating around it to try and make it easier for them to pay it back.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. And there was a gentleman, again, down a YouTube rabbit hole that was explaining that concept when it came to mortgages. He was explaining his grandfather's mortgage and how it was, £2,000. By the time he was in a position, towards the end of it, he was making more, like significantly more than that annually, and said, well, you don't need to be quite as panicked as some people tend to get about paying off your mortgage, because for exactly that reason, inflation will
take care of a lot
ease
of
you
it.
out of it, which hopefully happens to me soon, but geez. Not yet.
Well, look, the average way, when I was working, I remember the week that I earned $100. I was working full time. And okay, I've got lots of grey hair, but I'm not that old. You know, like I remember cracking $100 for the first time in take-home pay. Now, if somebody said you earned $100, they'd assume that, well, I mean, legally you can't earn $100 because it's well under the minimum wage, but you'd assume that you'd only worked a 3-hour shift sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you put that in perspective. Our first mortgage was $25,000.
Yeah, that's not a deposit anymore.
And it wasn't a 25-year loan, it was only a 10-year loan, but it was $25,000.
Yeah.
You know, whereas nowadays, nobody that works full-time earns $25,000 a year. That was our whole mortgage.
Yeah.
So to buy a house. So, you know, I've lived long enough that I've seen it happen, and I have no doubt that you will as well.
I'll watch this space. Check back in 25 years on
gonna
Bullion
say.
Now live stream. I'll let you know how it's worked out. Have you got any more questions, Ruben? Are we going to run ourselves into that same predicament of still another 35 questions mapped out in front of us?
I mean, there's a lot of them that will just set you off on a variety of different rabbit holes, and I'm just kind of deciding which one.
Which
I,
rabbit hole to go
choose
down.
your own
which one I
adventure,
set
Ruben.
you go down, and how long we'll
Sounds
be
a
down there for.
little communistic, or you know, he's only letting us argue the things that he wants us to argue. He's keeping the
puppet master.
Yeah, that's right.
It's what's
Bit of a
needed.
dictatorship happening behind the microphone.
Gonna be honest, it's what's needed with you fellas.
Yeah, that's true, actually. Otherwise, it's been a several day long stream.
It does
He's
say that.
quoting Stalin there, but anyway.
Some people would want a multi-day stream. I don't know if that's necessarily. What
No
would
wonder they
happen-
think you're the grumpy one.
What would happen if it came out tomorrow that the US had no gold left at Fort Knox? Also, I don't know why Google says the US is the biggest holder of gold reserves when experts confidently know Russia has up to 20,000 tons and China close to 50,000 tons, while the US has apparently only 8,000 tons. So what would happen if it came out tomorrow that the US was holding no gold at Fort Knox? And then why is Google saying that the US is the biggest holder when numbers might indicate otherwise?
Where does Google come from?
Yeah, that's. I think that's enough.
It's
I
like
don't know
when you
that
get
you
involved in a football argument. Anyway, sorry, mate.
Well, I don't know that you could fully trust any of those reports, because based on, like, if
We sent a guy out the
I'm
back and,
China or Russia, am I going to volunteer up my exact holdings of gold and say, we'll put this into your Google stats and no worries?
They're not known for their honesty in reporting,
well,
are
it's
they?
funny that, yeah. So the idea that you would even take that as a totally credible source. It's like when you look up celebrities' net worths. I've seen that in a number of interviews where they get questioned about it and they say, unreal, if only I had that much in the bank. Like, do I have any assets that I don't know about? Because, it's certainly not quite that figure. It's a lot of that information is extrapolated from, you take a little bit of information and then they'll, based on how much was a registered purchase from this supplier, we'll assume that they make that on a monthly basis, stretch it out over 20 years. All right, they've got X amount of tons. But again, this is just one person's opinion, much like that information I would suggest.
Yeah. Look,
that's my theory.
I agree. I don't think you can, any of those three countries you just mentioned, I don't think you could trust their stats. If they found out that Fort Knox was empty, I think people would go off their heads.
Yeah.
Because the government has come out for so long saying, of course we've got it in there. Of course it's in there. Trust us. Yeah, absolutely it's in there. To then find out, crap, this is empty.
Yeah.
But there again, I don't know how, even if someone had footage from inside Fort Knox, the government would go either A, it's fake news, or B, we moved it. We've still got it, but we're not going to leave it there where everyone thinks
too
it
obvious,
is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a security thing. So I don't know how we could ever get to that point where, It's a little bit like their it always cracks me up with their strategic oil reserves, where the US comes out and says we've got X billions of barrels of strategic oil reserves, and you think, yeah, but do you really?
Who's to say?
Yeah.
Google, perhaps.
There was a company, I was like late teens, early 20s. There was a company down in Gippsland, National Safety Council, and they had massive loans from the banks. Like we're talking like tens of millions of dollars even back then.
Yeah.
That they were using to buy, expensive helicopters and decompression chambers and all this sort of stuff. And even the cleaners were being paid to get their helicopter licenses on these massive helicopters, because they just had money coming out of everywhere.
Yeah.
And it was all like the security that they'd used was all this stuff that they had in these shipping containers. And then one day some lowly pleb from the bank walked in and got access and opened one of the shipping containers, and they were empty. Ooh. And there was like millions and millions and millions of dollars worth of assets that just didn't exist. And it caused huge. There'll be some people on the chat that will be old enough to remember it, but it was called the National Safety Council, and all hell broke loose in Victoria over it, because they had contracts. Actually, they had federal contracts where they were effectively, I was going to say surf lifesaving on steroids, but they had helicopters. They did the rescue service that most of these days we rely on the Air Force or the Navy and that sort of stuff to do. They were big money.
Wow.
And it all disappeared overnight.
Jeez.
So it happens, and that caused people to go off their heads. So I can just imagine if Fort Knox turned out to be empty.
That's I think, like you suggested though, who and how would prove such a thing without being instantly deplatformed, discredited, all of that jazz. It'd be it's interesting though. I'm sure someone will make a Netflix special about it, a hypothetical. That'd be interesting.
I think 60 Minutes did a few things on it, but yeah. It was a big drama. Huge stuff. Anyway, sorry, Rubes, did we answer the question?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. What else we got? Are we going to get any of these Scottsdale Commander coins?
Can I drag you back slightly? We saw it go off a little bit when the Chinese came out and said these gold bars that we've got in the central bank are actually copper cord.
Oh, yeah.
So that caused quite a flurry. And that was on I would argue, a fairly minor level.
Yeah.
So, extrapolating that out, it would be pretty huge. Sorry, Rubes, go back to it, mate.
Are we going to get any of these Scottsdale Commander coins?
I would like to, but I'm not seeing them readily available at this stage.
No worries. I think we need to start winding up.
Oh, what?
We've got to do 60 questions in 35 seconds.
60 minutes.
And apparently I shouldn't be reading the questions. Rubes needs to read the questions.
That did cause a bit of controversy last week.
Yeah, I was just trying to get through 60 in 60.
Oh. Well, I think that
easy.
that was more of their concern, was that it actually slowed things down quite a little bit with you asking them.
All right, you want to lead us off, mate?
With no questions, because people haven't had time to write them yet.
Oh, well.
Just fire away.
Come on, mate. I would have thought you'd had a few up your sleeve already.
No, I haven't.
Wow.
This has been a very last-minute stream, so I haven't had much ready at all. Are we getting any more 1/10 silver coins?
In the later new year.
Hey, palladium or platinum?
Platinum. In Australia, platinum.
Yeah, okay. Any interesting new bullion coming in the new year? McDuncan missed the start of the stream, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any 100 gram bars? Not sure if gold or silver.
We should have both.
Turkey or ham?
I'm not a big turkey fan.
Neither.
Yeah.
Chicken.
Why is gold spot all over the place at the moment?
Gold spot is volatile. There's a lot of volatility out there naturally anyway, but this time of year, a lot of the larger traders disappear. They go on holidays, they're on Christmas break, all that sort of stuff. So you'll find the volume has dropped quite a bit. So any medium-sized order on the market can have a far greater impact than it normally would have at this time of year. You wait till the week between Christmas and New Year, it goes off.
ACDC with Bon or Brian?
Bon.
Every day of the week.
Kilo coin stands. Lots of people asking
idea.
for them. Have been for a while.
Yeah, they're not easy to come by, believe it or not. So we'll keep it. Berlin. That's a good question for Berlin, mate.
Opinions on the gold and silver pandas out of China?
I like the panda.
Yeah, I think they're great. I think they do such a good job with those designs of making them look... I think the koala designs could borrow some of that, stylistic approach that they do with the pandas. Sorry, it's rapid fire. Continue.
Gold value on New Year's Day. When's the next dip?
There will be one between Christmas and New Year,
cool.
but it will be very short-lived.
When are you getting the capsules? They just said the capsules then. I'm not sure which capsules that is talking about.
We took a big delivery last week. Actually, we took a big delivery of the wrong size capsules. So if anyone wants pied foot, one ounce pied foot capsules, I got like 10,000 of the mongrels and I don't know what to do with them.
Does GST apply when we resell back to BN?
Not if it's bullion.
Buy gold or silver for 2024?
I like silver, but I've always preferred silver as a stacker, as a personal preference.
Gold or platinum is my call. I'd lean towards gold in that one.
The Germania Witchcraft series, were you likely to get it through?
No.
Perth Mint coloured silver 1 kilo dragons, are they a buy?
Oh.
They're so cool. I can't wait to see them.
And
yes.
And is it going to be raining on Christmas?
Hopefully not.
Will it be raining on Christmas Day?
I think it's supposed to
Yeah.
in Melbourne. And I'm calling that's pretty much the end of our run of questions there.
Aussie Earl, yes. Not every bar, but yeah, we still test them.
Oh, and then obviously the questions of when is Perth Bullion Now, Sydney Bullion Now, yada yada.
Stay tuned in the new year for an announcement.
The Piper caps fit the 2 ounces out of the Royal Mint, so the Tudor Beast series and things like that, as well as the Canadian pied foot coins.
These ones I think fit the mother and baby.
They do fit the mother.
Oh.
That's a big call.
Yeah, I think.
Hang
I'm
on,
not
hang
100% sure. They're a mongrel size. Apparently, we ordered 7
I'm getting
mil.
close up.
And
7 million.
No, 7. It's the depth. They're a normal 1 ounce capsule size, but the depth of them. So they're 40.
But it's not the depth that has normally been the issue for the mother and babies. It's them fitting in the diameter.
Okay, well, they're a 41.5 mil capsule, but for some reason there was a mix-up, and we're still trying to work out where. We ordered a 7 mil width, and somewhere, what I think has happened is we've ordered 7 mil outside measurement, and they've taken it as a 7 mil inside measurement.
Oh, gee whiz.
So the capsules have turned up, and they're too deep. So you put a 1 ounce coin in there, and it can tango in there. So I haven't had chance yet to actually break them out and properly grab a variety of coins and stick them in there, but they don't fit normal 1 ounce like kangaroos and koalas or kookaburras or maples or any of those sorts of things, which is actually what we bought them for.
Gee whiz.
So there might be a shortage in the new year of 1 ounce capsules at Bullion Now because it didn't work for us. And actually, I know I'm driving Ruben up the wall at the moment, but one of the things you need to be aware of next year is early in the year is how late the Lunar New Year is. It doesn't kick off until February. So we will get over in the Western world, we will get over the kind of the Christmas, New Year stuff to come back in and kind of, get back up on our feet kind of mid-January. And that's the time that a lot of the Asian world will actually be winding back. So you're going to find shortages in all sorts of areas, irrespective of, protests going on at the ports and all that sort of stuff. Just purely from a perspective thing, China, Asia particularly China, but Asia generally shuts down for several weeks over that Lunar New Year. So anything that comes back to China, i.e. Perth minted bars, okay, the minted bars are made in Australia, but their packaging is made in China. If they are running short, they're not going to be able to get the packaging in for several weeks. So you're going to find I'm not saying that Perth Mint's going to run out. I can't see what they've got, but I'm giving an example where we may find that in the new year we can't get things like Perth Mint minted bars because they don't have the packaging. We may not be able to, because of this stuff up, we may not have 1 ounce capsules that we give away and that sort of stuff. And you're going to find probably till March things are going to be difficult, have the potential to be quite difficult to get hold of.
Perfect. Now we just need 100 likes and we can end the stream, end the year on a high. Nearly there.
So, yes, there's potentially going to be delays. That's what I'm saying. Alrighty, I think Ruben wants us to wrap it up there.
Yep.
So, our resident dictator. So,
Gee whiz.
so it's the end of 2023, and it's been an incredible 2023. It's had many, many ups and a couple of downs, but mostly ups. It's been a great time. I can't tell you how honoured, and I know I say this occasionally, but I can't tell you how honoured we are that so many people support and join the Bullion Now family every year and support us in an incredible amount of ways, even down to we had a customer turn up today and bring in 2 big Costco pizzas for us as a thank you.
Oh, nice.
Which is just... It was just really nice.
Yeah.
And the number of people that, stop me in the street or, come into the store or they're on the phone and they express their appreciation for us. And it just means so much to us because we are a business, but we see it far more than that. It's really an outreach into the community. It's really an education. It's really us just trying to provide good customer service. And absolutely, we don't get it right every single time, but we do try our hardest to do it. And to see that, it's just like to see the appreciation and to experience the love that comes back is just, it's phenomenal. I can't tell you how thankful we are for it. So thank you very, very much for tuning in. Thank you very much for being supportive and what you are throughout the year. I'm hanging out for 2024. It's going to be a boomer of a year. There's some great designs coming out. There's some great coins. There's great people. And we're going to have a really great time. So thank you very, very much. Have an incredibly merry and safe Christmas. Spend time with your family. Think about family and reaching out and the things you can do. It's a great time of year, and I absolutely love it. So Merry Christmas, and I'll hand over to you guys to say goodbye.
Oh, well, how am I going to top that? Well, it has been a wildly interesting year. It's been you're right. It's been full of ups and a couple of downs here and there, both personally and professionally. But it's been truly a privilege, and I consider myself really fortunate to have started out as a customer here and now be sitting here. And I commented on it last week, the fact that we've now done well over 100 live streams, to be doing this on a weekly basis and feel, like you said, feel the love from the community when I'm in the store or hopping from office to office. There's so many friendly, smiling faces that come through. It truly is I've worked for a number of companies over the years, and none have embodied so many values that I'm proud to exhibit personally as well. And I think that a lot of people see that and feel that, and it's such a great community, and it is truly an honor to be part of this. And I appreciate Michael and Ruben, allowing me to be part of this, and all the viewers who support the channel and what we do. And the privilege is not lost on me. I really do feel privileged to be part of this. So thanks, everyone, and looking forward to much more in the new year.
Well, that's it. We've got a bit of a chance for a break to kind of reset a little bit, but that's it. We've got plenty coming, plenty of ideas coming for the new year. We've got the Berlin World Money Fair kind of early on in the new year, so you'll be seeing some international content out of us from there. Plenty of other ideas under our belt, and as Michael said earlier in the stream, lots of other stock and things as well. And hoping to kind of redesign some of the educational content and whatever as well, get that a little bit more consistent and happening. Thank you very, very much to everyone who sits there and watches us week after week. It is very much appreciated.
We should give dates as well.
On
when we're coming back,
yes.
When we're not here.
We kind of covered that a little bit, but yeah. So we have our last day of trading in the store tomorrow, for the 23rd, and then we will not be back until the 9th of January 2024. For open in shop, and we will start obviously sending out orders and things like that from there. And then the next stream will be up on the am I looking in the right month? Will be up on the 12th. Will be the first Friday back, and we look forward to it. We'll transform this studio, de-Christmasify it a little bit, but yeah.
And the phones and emails will not be manned during that time either. So, if you send it, feel free to purchase still over the web. That will still be operational. You can send in emails and you can leave messages on the phone system, and we will get back to you within that first week of when we come back. But there'll be no one actually manning the phones at that point or the emails.
Alrighty, I think we call it there, fellas.
Sounds good.
See you next time.
Merry Christmas.
Bye.